He's in trouble. He might be the first to go down.
That is a cancel onto the new middle plan.
That will connect, and there goes one. Trouble. He's going down. First blood. He goes in for the division. Killing free. Williams finds enough time. Even
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and this will be the live draw for the M2 Mobile Legends World Championship. And of course, I have here with me LaFell. As I am Contra, we will be presenting to you all the details necessary for our World Championship that will be happening in Singapore in January 2021.
Yeah, honestly, for me personally, I am so excited to see all the teams that are going to be playing. Altogether, 12 teams will be playing, but more importantly, this live draw will determine who will be fighting against who. And you know, I'm Malaysian, so I kind of hope for an easy group for myself, but it's something that we have to see, because M2 for this year, all the teams are pretty tough.
That's right, we have 12 of the world's best team colliding in Singapore eventually. So today is definitely going to be a very big deal for those who have been working so hard throughout the year of 2020.
Yeah.
And now is the time again for them to prove that they are indeed the best Mobile Legends team in the world.
Yeah, and personally for me, I appreciate that Buntan, even though in this situation of COVID and things like that, they're still pushing through. It's like, all right, M1, it was really big, right? A lot of celebrations, especially during the video just now, we see all the teams cheering on eBoss for winning the first World Championship M1, and now M2, they're like, you know what, we're still gonna make it happen. Like, we promise it's gonna happen, and it's gonna happen Singapore 2021, which for you guys, make sure that you guys will lock your dates, because we will be revealing all the dates as well as the format of how they're gonna play. Is it a best of 3? Is it a best of 5? Is it a best of 7?
That's right. Before that, let's have a look at our teams that will be playing for the M2.
And there you go, as you guys can see, 18 and 19 will be the qualifiers, and 20 to 24 will be the playoffs, where we saw a few teams just now. We saw 2 Singaporean teams, 2 Indonesian teams, 2 Philippine teams, and the rest, they only have 1 team to qualify. So for right now, we can definitely see that Singapore, Indonesia, and Philippines, they have a bigger chance on winning the championship. But again, the championship is only for 1 team only. So still, it's anybody's game, Contra.
Definitely in the back for anyone here to be able to claim the throne, but we're also looking at the defending champions, of course, the EVOS Legends, who would not be participating this time around. Am I right for this time?
Yes. It's the situation where right now for every World Championship, we're gonna make it very, very fair for everyone, right? So for Indonesia, how it is that the champion and the runner-up will be invited to M2, and unfortunately, EVOS for the last season, they didn't do too well.
Exactly, and they were having a lot of roster swaps as well as reshuffle, but we're going to be talking a whole lot more for that as we'll be looking through the format for the M2 World Championship. Starting things off in the group stage, phase 1, it'll be 2 days of play happening from the 18th January on Monday as well as Tuesday on 19th Jan, where you have players divided in towards groups where you have group A, B, C, as well as D. So how this is going to work, we have 2 days of tournament, 3 matches to be played on each group, 8 matches per day, and the first phase will proceed to the playoffs upper bracket. Now, tell us how important it is to be on the upper bracket in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, honestly, in any tournament, right, upper bracket is the most comfortable place where you don't have to play as much games, so you know you can conserve more energy, you can conserve more of your play style. You don't want to reveal too much. At the same time, you're able to see all the lower bracket fights where they might reveal a little bit too much. And over here, 6 matches a day is definitely going to be a very, very tiring day for the players, for the casting team as well. Yeah, I'm just saying, right? But
True
6
enough.
matches a day for 2 days is definitely going to be a big day for our viewers as well. They're going to watch all of these great teams playing. And the first place, as Contra have stated, will go to the upper bracket of the playoffs where they just have to play a few games all the way to the championship. And even if they lose, they have a second chance. And that, I think, is the most premium thing that you can have when you're in the upper bracket.
Definitely, and we will look into how the M1 actually happened, where Evil's Legends were at one point, I believe, was knocked out by RRQ Hoshi, and they came back swinging with the reverse sweep.
Oh yeah.
And that best of 7 in the grand finals itself to be able to claim top prize during the previous championship itself. Now, we're going to be looking into phase 2 of the group stage as well, where matches will be played between the ones that are not on the top seed. So this time the losers will be eliminated. As you can see, a little bit of an example here. If you have Group A, the second place, as well as the third place, they will be having that sort of a duke out there, and the winner will proceed to the playoff lower bracket.
Yeah, just like our first phase, it's going to be a best of 3. So whoever gets 2 points first, they will definitely win. And over here we can see for match 1 will be the second place of Group A against the third place of Group C. Second, on match 2, it will be Group A third place against Group C, second place on match 3. Group B, second place against Group D, third place. And match 4 is going to be Group B, third place against Group D, second place. And again, the losers will be eliminated where they will not be able to go to the playoffs. But again, like, even if you win on phase 2, it's still going to be very, very difficult because you're going out in the lower brackets, and then during that stage, whenever you lose, that's it. You don't have a second chance.
Yeah, and whoever's inside this bracket will be showing all their cards on deck, because even if they lose all these matches here in phase 2, they won't stand a chance to be able to pursue any further in the tournament run. So we're going to be looking at the playoffs bracket right here. So we got our upper bracket being set, and it's going to be a best of 3 to start things off between Group A versus Group C. Then you have Group B versus Group D's winners, and moving forward, of course, you got the winners of the group. But on the grand finals, as always, it will be a best of 7.
Yeah, but the thing is, we do have to watch. Yes, it's a best of 3, but during the winners and losers finals, it will be a best of 5. Or, you know, it's like in this situation, you definitely want the best of the best. And sometimes the best of 3, you might lose to like cheese strats and everything like that. So best of 5 really eliminates that kind of situation where it's like, okay, you caught me by surprise on game 1, but I have other games to catch back up. In the best of 3, there is a possibility you get cheese twice, so
perhaps so.
Yeah, so definitely the winners and losers finals, those are the games that I personally want to watch, because I think in that stage we'll definitely see the full potential of the team before finding our best 2 to fight in the grand finals best of 7.
Yeah, and I definitely think that this sort of a bracket system is going to be working really well for even teams that are appearing for the very first time in the M2 in the global stages here. And if you do remember a team that hailed from Japan, 1 Seconds Gaming Plus, who are now known as 1 Second Gaming Frost, they really took that run for the money all the way in towards the top 5s. And of course, we're hoping to actually see them do something of similar sorts. At the very least.
10 Second Gaming is definitely one of those fan favorites where during the World Championship, they really brought a very, very new meta where in that stage, no other team really wanted to bring in the Rafaela, but they brought the Rafaela, they brought the X-Borg with the Retribution. So honestly, whenever we were talking about a global level kind of tournament, we will see all of these crazy innovations by teams, especially from other countries, which I'm kind of personally, I'm looking at Russia and Cambodia to really bring something different into the stage.
Yeah, and I believe that the Japanese side will also offer the same sort of stuff that can actually be shown on our tournament eventually.
Yep.
And also, Indonesia is still one of the powerhouses of Mobile Legends, and we're going to be talking a lot more on that in a short bit.
Yeah, and right now you guys can see on the table itself, we have pool 1, pool 2, pool 3, where right now Contra will be going over, so the fate will be in his hands, where you guys, I hope you guys kind of have to pray that, that he, like...
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's fine. So basically, I'm just going to run through what's going to happen. Contra will be moving in front, and then he will put his hand, as you guys can see, pool 1, pool 2, and then pool 3, where pool 1 is the current champions of each MPL. Pool 2 is the runner-ups, and Pool 3 is for the countries that do not have an MPL, but they have different ways of getting into M2. And why we separate all the pools is because they're not going to be facing against each other. So the champions will not be facing against the champions. The runner-ups will not be facing against the runner-ups. So we can have a lot of variety in the groups.
That's right, and another clause to this is that if they are hailing from the same country, and if they were being placed in the same group, they will automatically move in towards a different pool instead. So, of course, you got Group A, B, C, as well as D. So, without further ado, I believe that it's time for us to unveil who will be starting things off here. And
which pool do you want to pull out first?
We're gonna start with pool 1, and I definitely hope that all luck is by your side for those teams who are currently watching. And without further ado, let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, so while Contra is pulling in the pool from pool 1, I'm just gonna remind you guys, in the pool 1 we have Team RQ from Indonesia, Brandon Sports from Philippines, Toda from Malaysia, and Burmese Gold from Myanmar. So right now, you gotta, all right, so it's all yours, man.
Got one in the back. All right, so gonna crack this one open. And our first team for today, Burmese Golds.
All right. So right now, Burmese Gold is the champion for MPL Myanmar, where they have won all seasons, not all, the last 3 seasons of MPL without any losses. And during MPLI, they performed super well, where they almost made it to the finals. But either way, this is the first team that's going into Group A, Burmese Golds.
That's right, and Burmese Golds, one of the powerhouse that has been able to get such a magnificent result back in M1. They're hoping that this time around it's going to be different, that they will be the ones sitting in the grand final place. But there's still a lot more teams that will be drawn in towards each one of these lots, and Burmese Golds definitely is a name that has been around since the start of Mobile Legends.
If I remember correctly, I think they were even third place in M1. So they were really strong, and so far they haven't made any roster changes. So definitely we can see that Burmese Gold will be very consistent. It's just that we kind of have to see who they're going to go up against, because on the second pool, we do have a very tough team, which is Alter Ego. So while Contra is digging up pool 2, I'm just gonna remind you guys in pool 2. All right, never mind, we're gonna go pool 1 first, but I'm gonna talk about pool 2 just a little bit, where we have Team Resurgence, EVOS from Singapore, Alter Ego from Indonesia, and Omega from Philippines. So we will definitely have to see that first. But right now, again, the second team from pool 1 will be going to Group B.
And inside of Group B, we have...
I can't even see from here. I don't know what's going on.
from the Malaysian side, Todak.
All right, so Malaysia representative will be going up in Group B. Now we're just wondering who else will be in Group B. Right now, there's only 2 more teams in Pool 1, which is Brand Esports as well as RRQ, which is going to be in either Group C or D, which I think many people, as of right now, would want to avoid either Group C or D.
Well, there's nothing that's being rigged here for sure, but now that there's only Brand Esports as well as RQ, I'm hoping to put RQ Hoshi into its Group B so that I can officially call it the Group of Death.
All right, so yeah, so we're gonna proceed forward. Where I think all the teams will be looking at Group C and D because right now both of those groups look very strong with either Brand or RQ. And if I don't want to jinx it, but all right, Contra.
All right, it's time to find out then. And it seems to be the champion from the Philippines,
Okay.
Brand Esports.
Looks like Brand Esports will be going up into Group C, the champions of Philippines, where the Philippines, their MPL, they are very accustomed to best of 5s, best of 7s. So definitely Brand Esports, I would say, has the largest amount of stamina in this group right now. And right now, Group C is not looking very easy, but we already know. We already know who's gonna be up in Group D.
Exactly, and I really didn't really thought that I would be able to pull this off, and I just really want to do it for the sake of, like, you know, hoping to put RQ Hoshi in towards the Group of Death.
Sure.
I guess I just got to do the honors right here. So, as you all might have known, the final team will be the champions of Indonesia, RQ Hoshi.
Yeah, RRQ has been looking very strong. However, during MPLI, they lost to Alter Ego 2-0. And right now, RRQ Hoshi, even though they're at the top of the table in their own MPL, but going up to M2, a lot of, I would say, meta changes is going to happen. So we do have to see how does this affect our Indonesian champions. And right now, Contra, I think it's official that Group C and D are looking very tough. But we have to look at pool number 2 over here. We can see again, Alter Ego from Indonesia, Omega Esports from the Philippines, Resurgence as well as EVOS SG from Singapore. Whichever group Alter Ego goes in, if Alter Ego goes in Group C, no one wants to be in Group C.
I agree with you with that because there's no possibility that Alter Ego will be placed inside of Group D.
No.
So this is where things get a little bit iffy for all the teams that are hoping to be meeting with somebody else other than, you know, Alter Ego or even the likes of RQ.
I'm just saying, whichever group Alter Ego goes, that might be the Group of Death right now. So I think without further ado, we should look at pool 2 and we're gonna pick up for Group A. So Contra, it's in your hands. Who will be going to Group A?
I just really hope you didn't remind me about that, but here we go. All right, so I guess this is gonna be our first lucky team in towards Group A.
All right, and I can't see yet. I can't see, but
and it will be from the home country of Singapore. That will be the host nation for the M2, RSG.
All right, so Team Resurgence from Singapore is going up against Team Burmese Bulls in Group A. Right now, Group A looks fairly safe. Like, it could go either way. Resurgence is very strong. They look, I would say, very consistent in their performances. So right now, Group A looks fairly balanced. It looks fairly okay.
Yeah, I definitely would say that these two sides might have actually met back in the other competitions, and in MPLI there was also a whole lot of all these sort of the matches that were extremely exciting. Do you actually want to see a little bit of reenactment of MPLI?
Oh, I definitely do, because I feel like they really want to show what's up. Because during MPLI, again, as I've said, Alter Ego, they won every single game. They did not lose any games at all. And I think that other teams don't want that kind of domination happening in M2, so I think everyone will be playing their A game during M2. But speaking of which, right now we do have to move forward with the second team that will be going up against Toda in Group B.
All right, with that, it's time for us
Don't
to
make
roll
a
it
big goal.
once again. Okay, don't hate me for this. All right, so here we go. All right,
I
so
swear, Contra, please.
all right, so in Group B, we will have Omega Esports.
This is still not easy for Group B because Omega Esports is the runner-up in MPL Philippines, where they played against Brand Esport, even though they lost, but they showed very spectacular performances in the Philippines. Even though MPLI they didn't do too well, they lost 2-0, but the same thing happened to Todak as well. So right now Group B also looks fairly okay. I'm just happy Alter Ego is not in there.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is going to be really interesting because there actually could have been only one possibility.
Yes, only one.
There's only one possibility that the team that
Did I
even-
just jinx it?
Well, I don't think you did jinx it, but it's just the nature of the draw. But we're still gonna be looking at how things are gonna go. So
You know, Contra, you might not know this, right?
Yeah.
But I've been known in the Mobile Legends community where whenever I make a prediction, bad things happen. This is one of those times my prediction might have been correct.
all right, so this is where things get even more interesting.
I saw it a bit, but go ahead.
All right, so for all of you viewers out there, this will be from the home nation of Singapore as well for our M2 World Championship, and it will be EVO Singapore.
Yeah, although, however, I feel like I don't know, I'm not too sure, but I think Alter Ego will have to go to a different group just because they cannot exist in the same group as RQs. I'm not so sure whether they're going to be swapping places with EVOS SG. We'll just have to see. But right now, as you guys see it, EVOS SG is in Group C.
Well, there's also a possibility, if I'm not mistaken, that it will be pushed towards the next group itself.
So Group A.
It might just be it. So we really got to find out from our production crew on how this one's gonna go, as our very final team inside of this pool will be none other than the ones from the Indonesian side, Alter Ego Esports.
You know, you pulled off the Indonesian team last twice.
Well, I know this is just something that is very unlikely, and it was supposed to be a group of death, like if both of them were slot inside of Group D. So now that we have Alter Ego Esports will not be placed inside of Group D. They'll be placed in a different group. So we'll find out which group will they be placed at.
Yeah, I would say either A or C. We definitely have to check it out a little bit later. But there you go. All of the second pool has been drawn, where the first pool is RSG in Group A, and then Omega from Philippines will be in Group B. And as of right now, EVOS is in Group C and Alter Ego is in Group D. But because we have two Indonesians in the same group, we will definitely turn it around a little bit, right? And the thing is, right now, Contra, if you were in the third pool, as of right now, as we see on screen, which group do you think you prefer to be in?
If I were to be in any group right now, I would fancy my chances either on Group B or even from the actually it's really tough. If you ask me, everyone's champion on their own rights, runner-ups, as well as they've won multiple tournaments from the past. So it's really hard to tell because Todak has been on a very consistent form back in their MPL where
Not losing a single
they
series.
didn't drop a single game, like you said. And same goes towards the side of Alter Ego, which now getting drawn. They have not lost a single game in the MPL, not even a single match point out there given to anyone out there. But if I'm looking at chances here, I'm not disrespecting any teams at all.
Of course.
Of course, when we look at power rankings and such, I'm looking at Group A to be a real bit of a 50-50 where on a good day, any of these teams could actually win it all or even lose it all.
Yeah, honestly for me, I think Group B is the most comfortable in my opinion because both Toda as well as Philippines didn't look too, as well as Omega didn't look too well in MPLI. So obviously, because they are champions, they are runner-ups, of course they'll be like, okay, you know what? During MPLI we didn't do too well. Let's review the VODs, see what really happened that causes the loss, and of course they will be training up until M2 to really figure out what is really going on, if they really require any changes in the drafts or their rotation. So, but as of MPLI, as of the results of MPLI, I do feel like Group B is the safest group.
Yeah, for now, it definitely looks like the safest, where all the teams really fancy their chances here. Like I said, they really have to make sure that they have already studied the meta well enough to be able to make adjustments, because in this group stage is where they still have a time for themselves to test their strength amongst their peers inside of their group. And after that, it's all about that do or die situation, especially on phase 2 onwards, where you will be looking at another team that will be making out of each respective group, and maybe none of them would be believing the result at the very end, because that's where upsets actually happen a whole lot of times.
But right now, let's look at Group A and Group C and why they are a little bit more, I would say, dangerous. So let's look at Group C, where Brand, they actually made it to the finals of MPLI. They are the grand champions of MPL Philippines. So definitely they have a lot of victories under their belt. They only lost to Alter Ego. And the thing is, Philippines, they are so accustomed to best of 5 and best of 7 format. So right now in the qualifiers, it's gonna be a best of 3. So it's not really gonna be that big of a problem for them in terms of stamina. And over at Group A, Burmese Ghoul, they did very well in MPLI as well. They only lost to Brand Esports, where they lost on the 2-1 loss, where Brand, they lost one game to Burmese Ghoul. So over there, we can definitely see Group A and Group C, the respective champions are still holding strong to their form. And Group A and B and C, as of right now, because we still don't know where Alter Ego is gonna go, but if Alter Ego goes either Group A or Group C, it's not gonna look good for the third pool to go either of those groups.
Even if it goes Group B, it's gonna be but of course the most likelihood of the chances here are
Alter Ego will not go Group B.
Yeah.
It will not happen. I'm using my Malaysia bias. It will not happen.
All right.
And then all of a sudden the production is like, you know what?
We'll just wait for the official announcement for that, and we'll be looking at where exactly Alter Ego will be heading to. So I believe that there's going to be a little bit of a shift here for some of these teams in this sort of instance, where do they have to switch to another different sort of team here to be placed respectively in towards a different place? Because if we really look into things here, if you were to shift EVOS, you can't exactly put them into Group A either, because you've already got Resurgence over there, who's also from Singapore, and if you were to put it into its Group B, it's like, it doesn't really make too much of sense, because it just feels like MPL MYSG1 all over again.
Yeah, for those of you who are watching internationally, you guys might not know, but Malaysia as well as Singapore were in the same MPL, where both regions share the same MPL. So we are personally not too sure on the logistics of that as well. But right now, let's actually look at, we're gonna look at Pool 3, where we'll be drawing them next. 10-second gaming, before this it was known as 10-second gaming plus, and right now it's 10-second gaming frost, where if my information is correct in my studies, is that in Japan, during their qualifiers, they actually lost. They were team number 2 against team AZB. But the thing is, team AZB, they broke up, and some of the players actually went to 10-second gaming frost, so they got the title to be in the M2. But that one we do, personally, I stayed up, I did my live stream, I talked to my fans, and that's what they told me. So I'm not so sure about that. And Team DreamX from Brazil, they won their their Brazil nationals against Team Solid. And Team Solid, they lost because of a botch invade into the purple buff, which actually gave advantage to Team DreamX. So yeah,
that really feels really harsh to be losing the championship
during finals.
Yeah, that definitely is something that's really, really tough to be holding in because that's the ticket for them to go into the World Championship. But hey, we do have a very formidable team here that will be joining us coming in from Brazil. So Brazil is definitely a team to look out for, as I've been watching a little bit of their scene, not only in terms of Mobile Legends itself, the esports scene in general in Brazil is really huge. Whether it's mobile or PC, if you talk about the MOBA title itself, they go way back in history.
Yeah.
So a lot of talent that they will be giving us a little bit of that samba flair that we've been looking for.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm pretty sure that individually they're very strong. What I'm slightly worried about is that the buff invade. So I'm not too sure if they are able to handle the same strat from Philippines or Indonesia, where they play their early game even more aggressively.
Yeah, and this is where we really gotta have a look into how exactly will all these teams be coping against each other's metas. We've already talked about surprising metas with all those Rafaela picks as well as export for the previous season of the M1. But a lot has changed since then. We've got a lot of additional heroes along the line. So I'm hoping to see things like Yuzong and all that really popping up on the radar in our recent run here. So looking at Pool 3, we definitely have to see which team will be pretty much placed in towards different places here, which will cause a little bit of disruption. So if we look at Pool 3, we got Impunity, Khmer coming in from Cambodia, there's Volt from Russia. So Russia, back in the days of M1, there was a team hailing from the region that actually did decently well. So of course, we do see a little bit of a swap that comes right through, and it will be Group A with Alter Ego Esports inside, as they will be swapping with Resurgence RSG into Group B. That is definitely going to be a very, very tough group for the side of Resurgence. Hopefully they will have a little bit of leeway here, but it definitely has been an interesting turn of events, I gotta say. So I'm just waiting for LaFell to come back up online, so we'll be having a little bit of a chat later on. But now looks to me that we've already finished up with Group A all the way towards Group D for our pool number 2. We'll eventually be moving in towards Pool 3. So hopefully we can definitely get LaFell's input back on track, and we'll be coming in with the Pool 3 draws. So with that being said, of course, we'll be looking at possibilities. It's DreamX, 1 Seconds Gaming Frost, Deuce Volt, Impunity Khmer that will be placed in towards either one of all these groups. So we'll be definitely seeing how this is going to be working out at the moment. But if we're definitely looking towards chances here, when we see in towards Group D, RRQ will be facing against Resurgence, where they have at one point been facing against each other back in the very first MPLI. So this is going to be a little bit of a sort of a rematch going on for that grand finals.
Group A is the group of them. I will believe that Group A, that is the most.
Yeah, and it's great to have you back. So of course, with that being said, we're going to be seeing how Pool 3 is going to be like for the entirety of the session. But imagine this: if we have either Impunity, wait, you correct me if I'm wrong. Can Impunity be placed in Group A? There's a possibility, right? Then for 1 Seconds Gaming Frost, if they were to be placed in Group A, that's going to be looking very, very much like the best group to watch. Yeah, so things are definitely looking a little bit spicy, as we are going to be seeing how exactly will Pool 3 offer us some of the best of actions that we'll be getting coming out of group stages for M2 World Championship.
quite good for our players. And Group B looking like one of those prospects that you're like, you know what? I want to be with them. I want to be with Todog as well as Omega Philippines. And right now, as we said, we have 4 more teams from the third pool where we have Russia, Cambodia, Brazil, as well as Japan. And right now, all of these 3 teams, all these 4 teams from Pool 3, they are in the mercy, kind of all of these other teams, because all of these other teams, they have their own MPLs, and all the teams from Pool 3, they just have their own respective tournaments. Instead of we talk about A, B a lot, but Group C, they're not very easy as well. Ren is more again. They are the champions. They are the runner-ups for MPLI as well as EVOS SG. They went up against Koda in the grand finals of MPL MYSG. They showed their best. And right now, I think that this might be their final draw. So they want to show like EVOS SG. MPL MYSG, they have secured the championship before. And right now, I would kind of say it is an opportunity for revenge, where it's like, alright, you didn't win MPL MYSG, but if you're able to win MPL, I think that's perfectly okay. That looks very good on your resume.
Exactly, and there's a couple of times that has happened before for the side of EVOS SG, and not only EVOS SG will be flying the Singapore flag. There's also RSG here that has been on a really good form as well. But of course, MPLI, they didn't see all too much matches out here. They managed to pick their own group, but it didn't went all too well for the side of RSG.
Yeah, to be fair, to be honest, Malaysia as well as Singapore, both of the regions didn't do too well in MPLI, which, in my opinion, for teams that have lost in MPLI, they're more hungry.
Exactly.
They want it more, right? And that's really what we need to see in M2. Who wants it more? Who wants to be the world champions?
Exactly, and now that we're looking at the side of RSG, I definitely think that they definitely have a whole lot more new hope for them to be able to actually get by through Group D. But you know, it's gonna be a tough hurdle against the likes of RQ Hoshi. But hey, if RQ Hoshi doesn't really want to open up any of these sort of the strategies up in the early stages of the groups, then we're about to see a very big retaliation coming in from the side of RSG, who will be giving their utmost best, or perhaps highlight a couple more of these sort of tactics to prepare for the playoffs run instead. So whoever gets placed into Group D, Group D, or even Group A, definitely has a lot of homework to do for all these teams that are on board.
Yeah, and Contra, one thing that we have to talk about is, I would say like a playoff buff, but change it into M2 buff, because we have these teams that are like
regular season, qualifiers, they just look like okay teams. But on the big stage itself, they might look very, very strong. We don't know.
Exactly, and if we're talking about those sort of buffs, I gotta mention Todak right here because Todak, previous M1, they look phenomenal. They were not at that sort of the prime stage that we saw, not even in the MYSG round. They were not crowned as champions yet, but now they are in that winning form from their recent win from season 6 of the MPL MYSG. But for MPL Invitationals, let's talk a little bit about that. How did it went for the side of Todak?
Todak looked not okay, especially they substituted 2 of their players for new players, and it looked like the reshuffle didn't really work out for them. They lost 2-0 to Fat Indonesia.
And it seems like, of course, GFAM Indonesia won't be playing this time around, so they won't be meeting with their worst nemesis. But yep, soon to tell. But we're gonna be looking at Pool 3 eventually. We definitely understand that you guys can't wait to see how the entirety of the group live draw sessions will be concluding here for these group stages. But of course, we definitely need a little bit of time here as we definitely take a little bit of a breather. And when we look into all these survey players that will be coming in towards each respective group as of the current. Now, Brand Esports, still one of the strongest teams out there. And I really don't want to really put any sort of the stuff to undermine all their raw talents and stuff. And they have just had a really massive run in towards those stages of MPL Live where they absolutely managed to crush their competition going through the entirety of their groups, where it was relatively interesting, where they actually managed to pick a couple of all these teams like Aura PH or Indonesia to be facing off against either Onyx PH or even Onyx Indonesia. So, yep. With that, of course, it has been a wild ride inside of the MPL Invitational, but for M2, this is going to be perhaps the best that we'll ever see throughout the competition.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to patch changes as well, because Muntan really likes to test the limits of our players. They're like, okay, you know what? We know there's a big competition coming up. Let's spice things up. Let's.
I mean, like, I understand as a player you don't want those patches to happen, but for me, I kind of do just to see how the players react,
Especially
if it's a big change.
Exactly, and of course, when we talk about all these big changes out there, it boils down to who learns the quickest, and when it comes down to all these nitty-gritty of details like the numbers and how much damage has been nerfed or buffed. But the most important thing is for them to be falling back to their comfort picks as well, where there are going to be heroes that may be not affected by the entirety of the survey nerfs or even buffs. But of course, there's always going to be that looking at
or Pool 3. Talking to you seem like a very cool guy. You seem region.
Stego Swan, trouble, he's going down, first blood. He goes in for the division, killing free. William finds enough time, but even though they are done.
And hello everyone and welcome back to M2 Live Draw. My name is Rafael and this is Contra. Again, thank you for everyone's patience and sorry for the long delay. It just happens because, well, many people from overseas, they might not know, but my name is Rafael. I am an MPL Malaysia caster and whenever I'm on, we always have issues. But either way, right now we already done the first pool as well as the second pool Contra. Now the thing is, I have read the comments, and the comments they were worried. It was like, wait. RNQ and Alter Ego, they were supposed to be in the same pool.
Exactly.
But why did they change?
So the reason is this, where the whole format where you can only have one home nation in one respective group. It means that if you're a Malaysia team, you cannot be placed with any Malaysian team, any Myanmar teams cannot be played with other Myanmar teams, Philippines, and the list goes on. So when this happens, so RRQ cannot meet with Alter Ego Esports based on the rule set by the M2 organizers out there that has been able to plot it out. So we are definitely bound to see that there's going to be also big chances for the nations out there that have more than one representative to be able to actually get really far into the competition. Now, if we look at it, we got 2 teams from Singapore, 2 teams from the Philippines, 2 teams from Indonesia, and also Singapore as the home nations out there. So with that being said, we'll be carrying out a little bit of the sort of the pool draw as we will continue where we left off in towards pool 3. But before that, of course, we gotta do a little bit of explanation where early on we saw a little bit of a mix-up here.
Yes.
So the only logical way for that to happen is that the previous group will be Alter Ego's group if that's going to be the case. So it's just going to be a switch between Alter Ego as well as EVOS SG. Now, let's have a talk here because this looked as if it was going to be the El Clasico inside Group D, but it's going to be a different sort of team representing EVOS, which is EVOS SG as compared to EVOS Legends.
Yep, and just in my personal opinion, I think this is the better way to do the format, right? So while Aaron is gonna be drawing up one team from Pool 3, again, just in my personal opinion, like we've seen Indonesian teams fighting against each other, we've seen Philippine teams fighting against each other, right? It will be the same thing. If suddenly Omega is in Group C, then Omega will be moved to Group D or elsewhere. But right now, Aaron has chosen one very nice spherical name of that,
and from the first team inside of Pool 3, we will have Dizvol.
Yep, we can see the representatives from Russia will be going into Group A, where they will be fighting against Burmese Ghouls as well as Resurgence. Over here we can see Dizvol from Russia.
That's right, and they are definitely going to be the dark horses of the tournament, as we have already seen them really having a very good chance here. And now we're going to be looking at them being placed inside of Group A. Now, this group is rather interesting. There's a lot of great tactical maneuvers that will be brought up from RSG, aggression coming in from the side of Burmese Ghoul, and from the likes of it, the Russian team that we do have from Dizvol is also one that is relatively aggressive. So this is going to be Group A being concluded, and we'll be moving forward for our next group.
Yeah, I still remember during the days of M1 where people were like, if you're going up against the Russian team, you guys have to ban out the Natalia. At that time, Natalia wasn't, like, she was playable, but she wasn't like, all right, you always have to first pick, you always have to ban. Specifically against the Russian team, they're like, you know what, you gotta ban out the Natalia, but right now we can see Aaron has got the other team that will be placed in Group B.
Now, inside of Group B, we will have Impunity Esports.
Impunity from Cambodia. Impunity Esports will be going up into Group B with Team Todak as well as Team Omega Esports from the Philippines. So right now, the Group B stage is, I would say again, one of the more safer groups. However, I myself have to admit, I do not know much about Impunity for this year Contra because I have not seen any of the games.
Well, Impunity has been a powerhouse and they are an esports organization initially founded in Singapore, as they have already established a lot more teams around Southeast Asia. But Impunity, they have been showing a lot of strength in the Cambodian side, and now with them coming on board, I believe that Group A definitely is going to be a stiff competition as well as Group B here. But of course, this is going to be a lot more exciting than we thought, because now it's honestly anybody's ball game inside of Group B. Now here comes the test. Group C, like you mentioned, will now be
the Group of
Death.
Group of Death.
Automatically. So whoever gets drawn into this pool here has got a lot of things to worry about.
We only have DreamHack as well as 10 Second Gaming Frost. And I don't think either of those teams will want to be put into Group C, but
I think these teams here, they don't want to meet 1 Second Gaming Frost.
yeah, so if 10 Second Gaming Frost goes into Group C, then Group C is the group to watch.
Oh boy, I can't wait. Oh, what's it gonna be? And looks like we have our team from Japan. 10 Second Gaming Frost.
I just want to say I called it. I've called the Group C. I said that Group C is gonna be the group of death. I usually get predictions wrong, so I'm gonna pat myself on the back for this one. But yeah, 10 Second Gaming Frost inside the death group, the group of death, Group C, alongside with Brand Esports, the champions of MPL Philippines, and Alter Ego, the champions of Mobile Legends Professional League International.
That's right, and now this leaves us with only one team remaining. And well, you guys can make your guesses, but
Sure.
if you guys haven't already guessed
Let
it,
me predict DreamHack.
that's right, from Brazil, it's DreamHack.
Yep, DreamHack has been looking pretty strong. However, going up against RQ as well as Evo Singapore, with both of these teams being super aggressive in the early game, is definitely going to be very difficult for DreamHack to match against them, because their team, even if they have a more early to mid-game centric draft, they do seem to prefer playing a little bit closer to the late game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there might just be a Cinderella story run that might just happen between all of these group stages here, but oh boy, what have I done here for Group C? I mean, it really feels like this is where we really do get all the best games possible.
Yeah.
And there's just no better way to go. Like now, there's a whole lot of threat coming from Japan.
Yeah.
As well as Alter Ego, and not forgetting Brand Esports, who we would be seeing another rematch of the grand finals, like we say.
I can just see the faces of the players getting up contrast picture and be like, why'd you put me in Group C?
Please don't meet me in all these sort of groups and stuff, but hey, will be fun to watch.
But yeah, let's recap it here. We are able to see now all the teams inside their respective groups. So we're gonna rehash again all the teams that they're joining in, but these are the 12 teams that will be playing on the 18th and 19th of January, where they'll be playing the qualifiers, where I will just remind you guys on the format. It will be a best of 3, where the teams, the number 1 team in each group will be qualified to the upper bracket on the playoffs, while the next stage, phase 2, the other 2 teams in the group will be playing a best of 3 as well, where the losing teams will be eliminated. So 4 teams will be eliminated, and the other 4 who won will be moving forward towards the lower bracket.
That's right. So there's going to be a whole lot on the line here, and we're talking about big prize pool and the chance to be called world champions here.
Bragging rights.
That's right. Whole lot of bragging rights. And RQ Hoshi, they were 1 game away last year, and now that Evil's Legends are already out of the picture, they are looking at as if they are in a really good shape here inside Group D. But hey, we got Alter Ego, the brand new kids on the block here that has been showing strength inside of MPLI. In Group A, you got big names out there from Burmese Goals, RSG. Well, anybody's game.
I'm just saying, the group of death, I can definitely see Tentacle Gaming being kicked out of the group. I'm just putting out that my predictions are always wrong. So maybe they end up being champions. I don't know.
Well,
But Brand Esport as well as Alter Ego is not gonna be easy.
I definitely love the Japanese side. I really want to see a whole lot of it. So imagine this, even whether if or not if they actually be in the middle of the groups or the end of the final place, they still have that sort of the fight for the slot for them to be able to actually meet with other groups as well on the runner-ups as well as third runner-ups. So that's how they will be placed eventually. So whoever they're fighting inside their phase 1, it's just to place them initially, and phase 2, that's where we see eliminations happen.
Yeah, either way, we will look at Group D as well, where, again, Indonesian champions, EVOS SG, the runner-up in MPL, MYSG, as well as DreamX, the national, Brazil Nationals finalist winner. And right now we can see the lineups of Group A. We have Burmese Gold, Resurgence, as well as Unique Devil. Apparently there's a bit of a name change over there. We have Ace, D, maybe KG, Ruby DD, as well as Meow from Burmese Gold. And on the RG side,
Well, we got KZP, Jason Ferrer as there. He is a coach as well, so it's really interesting to see that he will be playing in the M2 World Championship alongside with Sync, Sana, LY4, as well as Fossa. So interesting names here. Of course, you got to point out it's going to be LY4 as their main marksman. Will be able to multi-role in an instance where Jason also will be one of the backbones with KZP leading the charge as their main tank as well as support. Now, moving in towards Unique Devu, we got interesting names here with Lil, Savo, One Shot, Sunset Lover, Defender, as well as War Barbie.
I'm not gonna lie, I like War Barbie.
Yeah.
I like, okay, War.
This is such an interesting idea.
War Barbie, Sunset Flower, you've already won my heart.
Yeah.
I want to change my name to War Barbie.
Yeah, it's like, imagine like, I don't know, like you go to war and suddenly you see a giant Barbie doll. I don't know, is this gonna be like that Trojan horse that they have to be able to surprise us all inside of Group A? It's for us to wait and tell, but of course, this will be the teams that will be playing inside of Group A. Chances for the side of Burmese Goals looking very, very good, if you must say, because like you mentioned, they have not really changed their roster all too much.
Yeah, and again, War Barbie, I just like it that it's a tank. And over at Resurgence, they kind of, they're really hiding their hand here. Well, you can see, all right, KZP is a tank, Sync and Sana side. The rest are all multi-roles. Like, all right, who's the carry? Who's gonna be the mid laner? Who's gonna be the main? It's like, we're not gonna tell you.
Yeah, this is where I think teams are actually playing a little bit of mind games among each other here. So when they look at the list, it's like, okay, side lane, which lane? Like, it could be the top, it could be the bottom. So yeah, we're gonna be waiting for MC to happen to be able to catch all of that happening.
Imagine if they don't know. It's like, which lane are you going? I'll decide as I go along.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm at bottom, I just decided.
Or you could be at the top. So either side, we're gonna be looking at Group B as well. So now that we're done with the Group A lineup, these are gonna be your teams for Group B, and do the honors.
Yep, over here we can see for Team Toda, a lot of people have been asking, and this is your lineup. Chiku, E1, Moon, X-Ray, Stu, as well as Formays, where this is the original lineup that won them the MPL MYSG with no series loss. And moving forward on Omega Esports, we have Toshi, Hajizi, Heat, Kenji, Kurt Z, Yelly Hayes, and Odin.
That's right, and for Impunity Khmer Esports, it's going to be Zero Baby, Oki, Boom, Rookie, Hakurai, Naker, as well as Faker Gaming Room. So, very, very interesting names that we have here, and of course, very strong opposition that will be coming along the way for each respective teams. So, let's talk about the playstyle for Todak before we move in towards Omega Esports.
Yeah, the thing about Toda, right, even though they've won every single series, they do not look invincible because they do lose games. And the games that they have won are in part through comebacks where you guys can say they play really well as a team, that even if they lose the early or mid game, they are able to turtle up very, very nicely, making sure that they do not lose the game. They don't lose a lot of resources, giving them time as they scale up, and then they're able to win the game either in terms of team fight or objective taking by split pushing. But if we're gonna look at player, I'm looking at Omega, Yelly Hayes. He is a very, very consistent name in Philippines, where I have faced him as well in the SEA Games, where he's a really, really annoying frontliner as a tank. As you guys can see, he's a support, mage, or tank. Although
Basically multi-role.
basically multi-role. It's like, I'm not gonna play marksman or assassins, but besides that, but yeah, him as a frontliner, he is very, very good, but I can see him transitioning more into the mid lane, support mid role as well. And he's gonna be my personal play to watch.
Yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward for that as well, because they do feel a 7-man roster. Same goes towards the side of Impunity Esports with Zero Baby, Rookie. Now, I'm gonna be interested to see how Faker Gaming Room is gonna be faring.
Very long name.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one to cast, but
Yeah.
hey, I can call him Faker, or it could be either Rookie or Faker that's gonna be playing, so maybe it's gonna be a little bit switcheroo, and we're gonna be moving into Zero soon.
Right, the group of death, we have Brand Esports, Alter Ego, and 10 Second Gaming Frost. Where the lineup from Brand Esports, we have Piu, Rebo, Carl Z, Lusty, Coco, EAs, as well as Flabzy, and yeah, for Alter Ego, we have Toshi, Leo Murphy, Cassius, Sailor Boy, Nyam, Hai, as well as Udu.
That's right, and we got Obuyan, Pico, Papa, Koro, Sheena, as well as Evnia. Some of these names are veterans when it comes down to their appearance coming in towards the M1. And now that they're going in towards M2, Obuyan is still the familiar name, the captain of 10 Seconds Gaming that has been there since the get-go alongside with Papa. So these are going to be your trusty players that will be appearing. But as for the side of Brent Esports, what can you tell us about Brent Esports as of the current?
Brand Esports, one of the most dangerous players is actually Rebo, especially when he gets his hand on the Farsa. His feather airstrike is always on point. His positioning is super good. It's very, very difficult to catch him out of position. And this is where my 10 Second Gaming Frost study is coming in. So, looking at the players, Sevnia, who is the tank, is not originally from 10 Second Gaming Frost. It was actually from their opponent's AZB. So they entered 10 Second Gaming Plus. Again, Obian is the captain. And then the rest of the team, I can see a few lineup mix and match. But again, since you were asking about Brand Esports, I would say that the thing about Philippines, they really like winning their side lane, right? And whenever they win their side lane, it gives them a very, very good momentum in the game. And Alter Ego, they just win everything.
Well, yeah, you gotta keep your eyes on Charlie Boy as well as Udil. Two of these names are definitely the front runners for the side of Alter Ego. But in Group D, this is where things get a lot more interesting. Looks as if it's gonna be the El Clasico, or it could definitely be even more hype up than that, as we start off with RQ Hoshi with Vin, Lemon, Albert, Sin, R7, Wiz King, as well as Psycho. So some of these names need no introduction, but we haven't really seen too much coming in from the likes of Psycho and Wiz King. Kind of have this really tough hill to climb against R7, who's always in this really good hot form.
Yep, and moving on, we have EVOS SG's lineup with Pokemon Soul, Aeon, JBL Potato, and Matthew, which, wow, I'm guessing he's not gonna play. Call me crazy. Call me crazy.
Well, I really want to see if Matthew's going to be facing against RQ Hoshi, though. If he managed to win, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a big celebration on the
You
EVOS
see, the
side.
thing is, EVOS SG, their management team is very hands-on, right? Before this toxic CEO was in, he was the owner of the team, and now the assistant CEO is coming in. So right now we can see that EVOS SG, their management is very on point. And right now, DreamHack, we also have Nyx, Was, Homies, Mickey Lewis, Carbell, as well as Aura. And from what I can see, not much roster changes from their national lineup.
That's right, and from the side of DreamHack, it's interesting as there's still going to be a little bit of aura being brought into the table.
Yeah.
Though there's not going to be the organization playing this time around, of course, unfortunately. But now that we've already concluded with many of all these survey groups already having an idea of what exactly to do, what are your thoughts in towards the group draws? Are you excited? Are you upset about some of these draws? Maybe some teams should be placed elsewhere. But to me, Group C, extremely satisfying.
Extremely satisfying. I love Group C. I love Group C. The fact that Toda is not in Group C, I love it, right? I think you did a very, very good job.
Oh man,
I think you did splendid, but yes,
it's
right.
all luck. So
Right.
I guess it was at the end of the day pretty much fated, and the fate now lies on all the players' hands on whether or not will they be able to
Yep.
make their climb towards the grand title champions of the M2 World Championship.
Yep, and right now we have to wrap it up real quick, so I'm just gonna give quick thoughts on the thing. I would say Group C is the group to watch. Group B might be one of the easier groups to play, as well as Group A and Group D. I think Group D is fairly, I would say, able to predict who's gonna be in what position. But Group A, I think, is a very, very big toss-up. I have no idea who's gonna win and who is gonna be eliminated from Group A.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a little bit tough to actually make a call, but look at the chances here on Group B. Toda Omega definitely looking relatively solid at the least runs out there. For Group C, this is the toughest to be able to predict. So whoever gets like a 100% prediction out there, you guys possibly will be the next analyst that will be replacing us here on the table. But yeah, like chances are, I think Alter Eagle very hot favorites here.
Either ways, I'm very, very excited for M2, guys. Don't forget about 18th and 19th January, where we'll be seeing all of these teams playing 6 games a day. All of them are best of 3. All of those games are gonna be very, very hype. This is Contra. My name is LaFell. You guys will be seeing us on M2. So, until next time, I guess this is the end of the show.
That's right, and we'll see you guys in Singapore.